To squat, according to the dictionary, is to sit in a low or crouching position, to occupy property without title, right, or payment of rent, or as a noun, a place occupied by squatters. Now, my dictionary doesn't offer any illustrations of these definitions, but that's okay, because I've got a picture that demonstrates all three of them at once. This is me in 1989. I'm sitting in a low position in a place that I've occupied without title, right, or payment of rent. I am a squatter, squatting in a squat. I'm holding a box of Barry's brand tea. My name is Barry, and this is the story of how I got to here from here. Every Saturday morning, first thing, we start on the lawn. Cutting, trimming, pruning, bagging, hosing down all the equipment. Then we move on to the house where every surface needs to be scrubbed, scoured, polished, squeegeed, scraped, waxed, regrouted. This work always manages to spill over into Sunday, leaving us with about 45 minutes of actual weekend time once all the cleaning and straightening is done. I have to suspect that if my father ever entertained any French maid fantasies, they probably involved a lot of actual cleaning. Some say that teenage rebellion can follow a rather textbook formula. In my case, this certainly was true. Let's take a look at that formula. There's a very southern boy transplanted to a very non-southern place. Add in the first introduction of Johnny Rotten, a little glimmer of anarchy, some time on top of a skateboard, and one bottle of over-the-counter hydrogen peroxide, and you get Now, my father, I'm pleased to report, is pissed off. My grandfather is like a clutter ninja. Exactly the opposite of my father. So, and is this how it works? I mean, does this tendency towards disarray just skip a generation, like male pattern baldness? And if so, certainly this must extend beyond personal sanitation habits. I mean, what about social, political, spiritual beliefs? I mean, do we just do exactly what our father doesn't? Now, when you're shopping for a place to squat, it's exactly like shopping for a place to rent or buy, except that finances don't actually enter the equation. If you see a place that you like, it's not a question of whether or not it's in your budget. It's just a question of whether or not anyone's living there at the moment. So, break in through an open window late one night, change all the locks like the squatter's laws dictate, and here we are on the very first night in our brand new squat, smoking the biggest joint ever. Let's take a little tour. Here's our collection of candles, very important in a place that has no electricity. What I really remember loving about this room, though, are the curtains. Because not only do they give you a real sense of privacy, they also let a lot of natural light in. This is my bedroom. I think it looks so nice because I was expecting company that night. Now, I don't have a picture of the bathroom, which is probably just as well. We do actually have a tub and running water, so theoretically we could take baths, but really, who has time for such things? Which brings us to our final formula. There's Barry, plus London, a little bit of punk rock, a little bit of drugs, minus the influence of my father, plus the genetic imperative for my grandfather, not a hint of domestic assistance to be found, and that brings us to, deep breath, everyone. I bet some of the filth that I was eating for dinner actually lingered around long enough to make its way under the surface of this picture. This is freedom, people. This is as far from my father's squeaky clean Southern California confines as I could possibly fling myself, and that means freedom. That means finally, I've arrived. Or departed. I guess it seems like sort of the same thing. Filth is not freedom. That doing the exact opposite of someone is just the same as doing the exact same as someone. And that just because my father tried to make sense of his world by coating it with Lysol doesn't mean that coating my world with filth will make me come up any happier. That's remedial thinking. My internal clock's all off due to the time change and my existential crisis. And so I'm the first one up, but not for long. Because soon there's Dad in his bathrobe saying, oh, you're up. You want to watch the video of our Hawaii vacation?
No. They're recording with the goddamn disc cover on.
I wonder why I can't see anything. Here we are at the banyan tree. This is Browning.
And there's my dad looking like the quintessential American tourist.
Check it out.
As I watch him wander from branch to branch, looking a little lost, it
Move around.
reminds me of kind of what I just did, wandering from branch to punk rock to skateboarding to dreadlocks to squatting. And I realized that my dad's just trying to make his way on his own, just like I am. We're both trying to figure it out as best we can and get some happiness on our own terms. And I never really thought that maybe we're a little more alike than we are different. 2.5 hours later, after Hawaii has been circumnavigated, I grab my journal and a cup of coffee and I head out by the pool filled with the poetic muse. And I take out my journal and I write, I stumble through each open door, yet still I find no meaning. I get so lost I must assume my compass needs a cleaning. Yeah. My dad's pool has one of those automatic pool cleaners, right? No surprise there, right? Those things that skate around on the bottom of the pool all day long, gathering up the junkiness before it even has time to settle. And as I sit by the pool and pour out my soul in perfect rhyme and meter, this pool sweep comes up and does a perfect Tony Hawk grind right up on coping, and the tail breaks the surface of the water, and it sprays a stream of water all down the front of me and all down the front of my journal. And all these words I'm trying to write, all these insights I'm trying to have, they melt to the bottom of the page, and they drip off onto the freshly swept cement. Thank you.